How is that? How is everything? This is a big week for you.
Yeah, everything is going phenomenal. Feeling
Uh,
great and ready and prepared to get the win.
Now, listen, I have a lot of things I want to talk to you about, but first, I got to ask you about something you revealed, as I understand it. Your brother, Alexander, signed with the UFC, correct?
Yeah, yeah. He signed with the UFC, so we're gonna see him really soon. Making his
What weight is he going to be
yes,
competing at? I know he got down to like 139 at fights, right?
bantamweight. Bantamweight is 135.
Okay. Right on, right on. So obviously you guys will be in different weight classes then, because that was my wondering. Are you guys going to be featherweights too?
Yeah, he will probably fight in the bantamweight, maybe in the featherweight too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like I said, I've got a lot of things I want to ask you. Specifically, there is a lot of excitement around this fight, but you specifically, really, you have a huge online following, especially outside the United States. But do you see this as an opportunity to kind of become a bigger star in this part of the world, in the U.S.?
To be honest, I'm not concentrated on that kind of things. If I have to become a star or a superstar, it will become without pressuring it. So I'm just concentrated in my thing to do my job, which is to deal with all the interviews, with the weight cut, with the fight, and everything will come at the right time and at the right moment. So
So you're not so concerned about, people like Daniel Cormier starting to compare your trajectory to that of like Conor McGregor, who was obviously a major star. You're not really concerned with that right now.
so it makes me feel proud. It makes me feel good, of course. That means that I'm doing the right things. But at the same time, it's like I'm happy with or without that kind of things.
Sure. Now, you've got a very interesting background. You've got ties to several countries. You were born in Germany, uh, Georgian parents. You moved to their homeland, and raised there for a while. Till you moved to Spain as a teen. 15. You were 15, right, when you went to Spain?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
correct.
like, and that, of course, is where you learned to fight. How big a part of your identity is it that you have ties to, all these different parts of Europe and the world?
So of course my parents are from Georgia. I'm from Georgia too. I have in my veins Georgian blood, but I grow up in Spain, so I have such a big love for both of the countries, and I feel like I represent both of them. I can't like split my heart more for one of them. I feel like 50-50.
Sure. How did you come to be born in Germany, though?
So I don't know. You have to ask these questions to my parents.
Fair enough. But like you said, you split all your identities there with Spain and with Georgia. Spain in particular, we that's a tough thing to move to a new country at 15. That's a big transitional age for everybody. What was it like
Yeah.
adjusting to that?
So it was a little bit difficult because I was living in Georgia. As you know, I had all my friends, my school, my family, everyone. I just had my parents in Spain, but I don't know. At the same time, I didn't live with my parents since I was 8 years old because they they went to Spain. I had to do it. That's all. I had to do it. And sometimes in this life, you didn't have many choices, right? You just have one way, and you have to do what you have to do.
Sure. And obviously you must speak at least three languages. Am I right? Your English is quite good. You speak Spanish. I assume you speak Georgian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I speak Georgian, I speak Spanish, I can speak a little bit of Russian, Germany. I forget a lot of Germany, but it was my first language. So, yeah.
That's fascinating. Yeah, a real citizen of the world you are. But like you said, you identify very strongly with both your German, your Georgian and your Spanish. I guess you could call it heritage, your nationality, right? We've seen Georgian MMA really grow in recent years. You're sharing the card with Murad Dvalishvili. You're not even the
Yeah.
first Georgian to headline a main event for the UFC this month. Roman Dolidze just did
We
one.
are like almost 4 million in Georgia, and we have so many and great fighters in the UFC. Yeah,
What
that's
is that
something.
for? Like, what do you credit that? Because there's got to be something in the blood, right?
Yeah, for the culture we have, we love the wrestling and everything that has to see with the contact sports. So we love that kind of sports. So I think that's one of the reasons.
And there's a bunch of different kind of martial arts in there, right? Because Marab, we think of Marab specifically as a grappler, as a wrestler. You, of course, are very offensive with both grappling and with your striking, and Roma Delize, same thing. It seems like there's not like a one single martial art that you guys kind of specialize in. It's like everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Me, I'm talking about myself. I feel comfortable everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I
And Spain,
start with the wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling in Georgia, and then I improved a lot in my boxing, my ground game, everything.
sure, sure. Now Spain, it hasn't really broken through yet as an MMA, like hotbed where everybody's coming from yet. Do you see yourself as maybe like the tip of the spear, so to speak, to bring that, to prominence?
Of course, right now we have such a big following in Spain for MMA, specifically for the UFC, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger every day.
Of course, of course. Now you're 14-0 coming into this one, of course. You've got a lot of momentum. You
Yeah.
started your career with 7 straight submissions, and then you had 4 knockouts out of your next 5 fights. So was the power always there before the knockouts started to happen, or was this something that just kind of clicked at a right time for you?
It was always there, but I the thing was that I wanted to be a very complete fighter, and I always know that I had to improve a lot in my boxing because the level of the fights were growing. I was facing a guys who was better in wrestling, and it was a little bit harder to take them down and control them in the ground. So I wanted to be very complete fighter. So that's why I started training like the boxing, the Muay Thai, I don't know, everything to be able to mix it up in the fight because you never know what you're gonna need in the fight.
I spoke with Volkanovski actually just this week, your
Yeah,
coach, of course, and he said you were definitely the right guy to be challenging for the title right now. But he did say that part of that was because he'd cleared out, some of the other challengers. He felt maybe your path to this
that's true.
wasn't as
That's true.
strong.
That's true that he cleaned up the whole division, and I was there at the right time at the right moment, and I was the clearest challenger, right?
Sure, sure. He doesn't seem to think that your path was as tough as some other ones. Is that fair to say, or do you disagree with that? Do you think that you've had a tougher path?
He disagreed that I have a tough path.
He thought maybe you had it a little bit easier than some other challengers had, and himself included.
Yeah, so okay, if he thinks like that, even better for me. Even better. If I didn't have the that hard path, even better. But not gonna change that. I'm gonna knock him out in the first round.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned that before. I've heard you predict that in first round knockout. Do you expect this
Yeah.
to be an easy fight?
Look, here's the thing that a lot of people is confusing this. It's not like it's an easy fight because every fight it's very tough, and specifically with someone like him, when you're fighting a guy who defend his belt so many times, he was a pound for pound number one. But yeah, for sure, I'm gonna make him look easy. That's something different.
I see. I see. Now you kind of speak about this fight with with the belief that this victory for you is inevitable, like it's almost predestined, right? That this is your destiny.
Yeah,
Would,
it's always was my destiny to
sure,
become
sure.
a UFC world champion.
Would you say that you're looking past this fight, or are you still focused on?
I still very focused on this one, very very focused, and the focus I have on this one and the hard work I put in and the dedication gives me the confidence that I will be victorious on February 17th. Nothing else.
Sure, sure.
Nothing else.
have you always been this confident in your life? You know, like when was there a
Always,
time maybe that things didn't
always.
go your way and you were surprised?
Because I know about my identity, you know. Anything can happen on February 17th, but every time I'm gonna look myself in the mirror, I'm gonna know who I am, you know, and I'm never ever gonna think about to give up in this life. That gives me the strength to trust myself always because I know who I am. That's it. Any result gonna change.
Sure, sure. And the last question I have for you, Ilya, is I read that you don't think too much about kind of some of these other potential contenders, guys like Brian Ortega or Max Holloway even. When
No,
you look at kind of the division outlook, you imagine yourself winning. Let's say UFC wants you to fight later this year, defend your title. Who do you expect might be the right person for you to defend against?
I don't know. The thing is that in the top five of the division, there is not any fight that makes sense for me because I'm gonna beat someone who already beat everyone in the top five. He beat Max Holloway 3 times, and I have to keep acting like he would do it. He would give a chance for the fourth time to Max Holloway. No, he would give the chance to Jair Rodriguez. No, to Brian Ortega. No. So I have to keep acting like he would do it. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit, and very soon we're gonna have a new and clear challenger for the 145 title.
Could you see a rematch happening, you and Volkanovski?
So the way I'm gonna beat him, they don't gonna ask me even for the rematch. That's the way I see it. So we'll see how everything plays out, and we're gonna have a clear imagine about the future after Saturday night.